inspired by seeing one of the game's all-time greats honored before the game. But not even Frank Robinson could save these guys tonight. It was scoreless in the second when Dante Bichette reaches out and just touches one. That weak blooper was good for 2 runs. The Rockies break on top. This is not a weak hit. Mike Lansing fires some rope into the corner and left, but look at Lenny Harris play it off the wall. The throw arrives in time, and Lansing is out at second base. But the Reds need some runs. In the 7th, they finally get one. Dimitri Young doubles to left field. That scores Eddie Taubensee. The Reds now trail by 2. Dimitri had 3 hits in the game. In the 9th, the Reds are down by 1 with 2 outs. Eduardo Perez launches it. If it's gone, the Reds win. And it is caught on the warning track. The Rockies win 3-2. The Reds have lost 6 of their last 7.
Well, it's just one of those games. Like I've said many times, my whole goal going into a game is to keep my team in there and give them a chance to win. We had a chance to win tonight, and it just didn't go our way. I struggled a little bit in the middle innings, lost a little bit of my control, but overall, I mean, it's a step in the right direction, something to build off of.
Right after the game, the Reds sent first baseman Sean Casey to the minors. As we've mentioned, former Reds great Frank Robinson was honored before the game. As Matt Miller tells us, this was a long time coming.
But I am happy. This is my organization. This is the city that I grew up in. It always will have a special place in my heart, believe me. Thank you.
It's a day 32 years in the making for Frank Robinson, as his former number 20 was retired and placed on the outfield wall. Robinson was traded to Baltimore in 1966 after 9 highly productive seasons and never thought this special time might come.
If it was going to happen, I thought it might happen around 1982 when I was inducted into the Hall of Fame. But I guess I ruined my chances for that happening then when I chose to go into the Hall of Fame as a Baltimore Oriole. So I guess that was shot out the window.
After having his number retired and placed on the wall, Robinson can now concentrate on another way of becoming a fixture here at Synergy Field as a possible future owner of the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, that's a little premature because I don't feel the Reds are not for sale officially as far as I'm concerned. And that's premature to get into it. But I said if they were, it would be a great fit.
From Synergy Field, Matt Miller, News 5. Today it was the Reds who were flexing their muscles down at Synergy Field and swinging some pretty good wood. At first it didn't look like there would be much baseball played today, with rain forcing a 1-hour and 12-minute delay. When the skies cleared, Willie Greene would connect in the 2nd inning for his 8th home run on the year. It's a solo shot, and that would give the Reds a 2-1 lead. One batter later, John Nunnally jumps on this cheese from Pedro Astacio and slices it just inside the foul pole in right field for another solo shot. It's Nunnally's 5th. The Reds expand their lead to 3-1. Astacio would take out his anger on Scott Winchester, plunking him on the arm, but he throws so soft that Winchester was not hurt and even enjoys a good chuckle over it. Winchester was also plotting his revenge as he later wings one off Astacio in the next inning. The ump says, hey guys, let's not have a Jerry Springer show break out on the field. In the bottom of the 5th, Dimitri Young continues his torrid hitting assault. He connects for this blast over the wall and right for a solo shot. It's Young's 5th on the year. After that, the skies opened up again with more torrid rain. The Reds win it in only 7 innings of play, 4-1 the final.
We hit the ball really well today. I think he got behind a lot of batters, and that way he had to come to him, and we took advantage of it.
Hey, I'll take it. You know, I mean, the win's more important for the team, and I mean, complete game's great, but I mean, 7 innings, felt pretty good, 1 run, so I'm pretty happy with the outing.
The Reds and Rockies will wrap up their 3-game series tomorrow at 1:15, and the Reds made a roster move as well today, sending first baseman Sean Casey out to AAA Indy for left-handed pitcher Eddie Priest. At Synergy Field, instead, they found themselves slipping downhill again in a rock slide. Speaking of slipping, in the 3rd, Melvin Nieves, he can't hold on to his wood, and he almost takes out cameraman Greg Honchel. Luckily, no damage was done, but in the 4th, Nieves shows he's a little bit better at hanging on to the ball as he robs Mike Lansing with a nice sliding catch. This is the high point of the Reds offense today. Barry Larkin grounds into the double play, but John Nunnally was able to sneak home and tie the game at 1-1. On the mound, Brett Tomko pitched well, but in the 6th, he's going to hang one out for Vinny Castilla. Castilla pounds it off the wall and left. 2 Rockies would cross the dish and take a 3-1 lead. In the 9th, Jerry DePito would close the door tight, making John Nunnally wave and miss for the last out. The Reds fall 3-1, striking out 9 times on the day and making one too many mental mistakes.
I think we've been in a hit and slump the whole year. You know, we just, we just too many strikeouts. You know, I don't know well how many we had today, but every time you look up, you're getting a key strikeout. You're getting somebody strike out. You don't have a chance. You got to put the ball in play. To put the ball in play, good things happen. You know, we're either get beat by base on balls or we striking out.
In a row constitutes a turkey. I think a turkey is one way to describe what we have at Synergy Field. Not everyone is playing like a turkey, though. Melvin Nieves knocks the stuffing out of this one. It's headed for the green, seats in right center. That's his second. The Reds take a 2-1 lead. Reggie Sanders is on first, ready to steal second. He's on his way, but decides this isn't going to work. Then he gives himself up at first base. That play was a turkey. Brett Boone makes up for it with some dynamite defense. First, he makes the diving stop and nails the runner at first. Then it's Boone the other way, up the middle. He throws across his body and gets the runner again. Give that man the gold glove. I know it's only May, but still. Mike Remlinger took a one-hitter to the 7th, but by the time the inning was over, the Giants had a 3-run lead. Bill Miller's 3-run shot was the biggie. The Reds lose again 5-2.
I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. I had an opportunity, 2 outs, nobody on, and just didn't make the pitches. You know, you got to. I felt like we needed someone to step up today, coming in here and limit them to as few runs as possible. And I was in a situation with 2 outs, up 2-1 right there, and just didn't get it done.
Meanwhile, back.
Why aren't those kids in school? Come on, this kid is rookie Eddie Priest, lefty out of Sneed, Alabama. He started strong, faced a minimum through 4 innings. Reds built a 2-0 lead for him. Along the way, good signs. Brett Boone with a double. Came in riding a 4 for 34. He'd strike again. Priest, meanwhile, blew up in the 5th and 6th. This jack by Barry Bonds was a 2-run job. The second allowed by Priest and put the Giants up 5-2. Priest in sets after 5 2/3, allowing 5 runs. But lo and behold, Elizabeth, I think this is the big one. Reggie Sanders goes deep to pull the Reds within 1. It's his 3rd. Then in the 8th, here's Boone again. 5th one to left center. 2 score. Reds win. Reds win 7-5 the final, and Dan Horde caught up with the rookie.
All right, thank you, Greg. The Reds victorious today. Rookie starter Eddie Priest did not get the win, but the team did. That's the bottom line. Let's start with how you felt out there. How nervous were you in your Major League debut?
First inning, after the first inning, you know, I settled down. The first inning, honestly, I was pretty nervous. But, you know, after the first out or so, you know, it sort of settled down. And then eventually, you know, after the first inning, yeah, I really settled down. And, you know, cruising into the fourth inning, I sort of lost some of my concentration, I think, and that's what, you know, obviously hurt me.
You started the year in Double-A, were very briefly up in Indianapolis. Now you're in the major leagues. Quite a quick rise to the top of this profession.
Yeah, it was a big shock for me. I just got to keep working hard. You know, I was working hard in Double-A and Triple-A. I got to keep working hard up here, you know, to stay up here. So, I mean, hard work will pay off, you know. So.
Well, Reds victorious. Good luck in your next start.
Thank you.
Eddie Priest, Reds rookie pitcher. Cincinnati wins today 7-5. Now back to Greg in the studio.
Thank you, Dan. The Reds begin a 7-game West Coast trip tomorrow night in L.A.
Harnish. He lifts the Reds over the Dodgers 7-3. Let's go to L.A., where John Nunnally ends his 0-for-14 slump in the 3rd. John's double brings home Harnish and Reggie Sanders. Reds up 3-1 in the 3rd. Chris Stynes, his injured right hamstring, hey, looking pretty good today as he brings home Harnish and Sanders. Pete Harnish scored twice and just happened to pitch a 6-hitter over 7 innings, had 9 strikeouts, raises his record to 5-1. Dimitri Young bangs his 6th homer of the year in the 7th, and the Reds go on to win today. Your final score, 7-3. Elsewhere in the National League,
Every year, the Reds always seem to stumble on their West Coast road trips, but today against the Dodgers, the Reds were poised to win their 3rd straight game in La La Land. Early on, things did not start well for the Reds and starter Mike Remlinger. In the bottom of the 1st and the bases loaded, Raul Mondesi slaps a blast into the bullpen in left field for a grand slam. The Dodgers take a 4-zip lead, but Brett Boone would strike back for the Reds in the top of the 2nd, going the opposite way and lifting it over the wall and right for a 2-run shot. Boone would add another 2-run tater later in the game, his 8th and 9th this year. Reds were still down in the top of the 9th when Reggie Sanders proves his bat can still be deadly, cracking this pitch and depositing it in the stands for a solo shot, his 4th this season. It ties the game at 5-all. Still in the 9th, Dimitri Young lines one down the line. Barry Larkin hops on his horse and trots home with the winning run. Young gets nailed at 3rd, but the Reds hang on to win 6-5 over the Dodgers for their 3rd straight win. Jeff Shaw picks up his 16th save.
Bottom of the 1st, Melvin Nieves up at the plate with 2 men on. He gets enough on it to sneak it through the right side. 2 runners are chugging for home. The Reds score 4 times in the bottom of the 1st. In the 3rd, it's Barry Larkin. Yes, he is still a member of the Cincinnati Reds. And yes, he can still get it done. His 5th home run of the season, and the Reds take a rather robust 5-1 lead. Meanwhile, Mike Remlinger was trying to break a personal 4-game losing streak. He gets some help from Willie Greene. Willie with the long throw to first. He nails Derek Bell. Remlinger pitched 7 strong innings. He mowed down the final 13 batters in a row. The Reds break a 5-game losing streak, 8-1 over Houston.
Well, it was nice. We scored more runs tonight than we did all week. Sure nice to see those 4 or 5 runs come on the board early. It's a big help. You know, we give our pitcher a little breathing room. Rem did an outstanding job.
Before the game, Barry Larkin had a 2-hour meeting with General Manager Jim Bowden. This was to clear the air on all of that talk about a possible trade involving Larkin. Here's what Barry was saying last night.
Just like I told everybody, you know, I want to win, and you know, and hopefully that can happen here. You know, Jim told me some things that, you know, if they come to fruition, that'll be nice. But you know, the bottom line is I want to win, and you know, hopefully it will happen here.
Severe weather and thunderstorms we've had over the last few days. It's no wonder the Reds had a power surge tonight at Synergy Field as they look for their 2nd straight win over the Astros. Reggie Sanders started the overload, leading off the game against Houston's Shane Reynolds, getting his wood around quickly and poking it right off the Joe Morgan jersey and left. That's his 7th homer, and the Reds take a 1-zip lead. In the 5th, the Reds were down by 2 with 2 runners on when Dimitri Young clubs this pitch over the wall and right for a 3-run shot. That's Young's 7th this year. The Reds take a 4-3 lead. The very next batter is Brett Boone, and there it goes. Another homer for the Reds, a solo knock for Boone in his club-leading 10th this season. The Reds now lead it 5-3. On the mound, it was Oak Hills grad Scott Klingenbeck firing darts. He works 5+ innings to pick up his 1st win since 1996 and his 1st ever in a Reds uniform. In the 9th, Jeff Shaw was trying to close the door. Bill Spires lifts one into the left field corner that could be trouble, but Chris Stynes makes a great sliding catch. Shaw gets his 18th save. The Reds beat the Astros for the 2nd straight night, 7-4 the final.
Dropping in. You know, at first, when it was first hit, I'm thinking that's going to drop in. Like I said, as it was floating up and you get a little closer and closer, you start realizing you have a chance. That's why you try not to give up on those balls.
I got the ball right here. It's getting signed around, and Jack gave me the card, and I'm excited. I mean, you know, like I said, you know, the only thing I'm going to do here is keep the team in the game and try and get out quality starts, and we got a lot of runs just like yesterday. Hopefully we can start something new here.
Aim and firing down the Astros in his best pitching performance of the year as the Reds were trying to make it 3 straight wins over Houston. And the way Scott Winchester was pitching today, it looked like it'd be a piece of cake. Here he whiffs Craig Biggio with a nasty sinker. Winchester worked 6 innings with a career-high 7 strikeouts. Game was scoreless until the 6th when Eddie Taubensee connects for a solo blast to right field. It was also hit number 500 of Eddie's career. Reds take a 1-zip lead. The Astros tied it up as we head into the 8th with runners on for Eduardo Perez, and he snakes one into right field. That would score Brett Boone and Melvin Nieves. The Reds go back on top 3-1. The Reds would bring in Jeff Shaw in the 9th, but believe it or not, he can't close the door. Barry Larkin can't make the throw in this Carl Everett ground ball. Jeff Bagwell comes home to tie the game at 3. Shaw had not given up an earned run in his last 18 games, but he gives up 5 in only 2 innings. Billy Spires pounds in the final nail with a 2-run shot off Shaw in the 10th. The Astros come back to win 6-3 in extra innings, snapping the Reds' 2-game win streak.
Well, that was a tough one. We got an outstanding job out of Winchester. Outstanding. The kid was great. Key base hit by Eddie Perez and put us out in front. We just couldn't hold it.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're a starting pitcher, you want to go out there and win every time. But you know, things happen. I've been down the bullpen. I know how those things work too. So, you know, these guys are going to pick me up plenty of times during the year. So I'm, you know, go back out there next time.
The Reds were snake-bitten again tonight. They played the Arizona Diamondbacks for the first time ever. And to tell you the truth, it was hard to tell which one was the expansion team. The weather was pretty ugly, but not nearly as ugly as this play in the 8th inning. The Reds were down 2-0. Dimitri Young comes up just a little bit empty there on that attempt in left field. The Reds still have a chance to nail the runner at the plate. But as the Reds' luck would have it, the throw gets through. Danny Graves then rifles it in the left field, so the D-backs get 2 runs on the play. They lead it 4-0. Somehow there was only 1 error on that play. Meanwhile, Omar Dahl was mowing down the Reds. The Diamondbacks win it 4-1. They made Dahl look like Cy Young.
You can say that for a lot of nights. He changed speeds and made us hit his pitch. It was all, you know, didn't give us any fastballs, kept throwing them balls in the dirt and kept swinging at them.
Earlier today, the Reds blessed Eddie Priest by sending him to the Indians. The Reds traded Priest and another minor leaguer to Cleveland for pitcher Rick Krivda. The Reds plan on using Krivda, but they have to clear a spot. Another win tonight against the Reds, and the Reds did what they could to cooperate, scoring just 1 lousy run against the Diamondbacks. Mike Remlinger was doing his best to keep the Reds in it. He delivers in the 5th, and Devon White jumps on it. If it's fair, it's gone, and we don't show foul balls here. It hits the net. That's a fair ball. Arizona takes a 3-0 lead. Meanwhile, the Reds were making another Arizona pitcher look better than he really is. Andy Bennis fires 8 innings of 1-run ball. The Reds get a little something going in the 9th. 2 on, nobody out. But Dimitri Young hits a grounder. There's 1. There's 2. Double play. Arizona wins 4-1. The Reds have lost 4 straight.
You know, you got to tip your hat to Andy Bennis. He pitched a great game tonight, and I made a couple mistakes, and they capitalized on them. Usually say solo home runs won't beat you, but tonight they did. You know, like I said, you got to give credit where credit's due, and Andy Bennis did a great job tonight.
Earlier today, the Reds made some moves in the minor leagues that involve a major name. Pete Rose Jr. was sent from Class AAA Indianapolis to AA Chattanooga. It's anything to break out of this slump. This afternoon, the season hit a new low. Today's game turned into another comedy of errors for the Reds. Dimitri Young comes up throwing, and he throws it just a tad too far. The Diamondbacks take a 3-0 lead. Besides the errors, lack of hitting was a problem again. With 2 men on in the 8th, Eddie Taubensee looks at strike 3. The Reds lose 4-2. It's the first 3-game sweep ever for the expansion Diamondbacks. Is this as bad as it gets?
I've been on teams before that played this poorly. And, you know, we've come out of it, or we got to the end of the season. But, you know, there's nothing else that we in here can do other than go out there and continue to try.
The Reds have struggled in many facets of the game. This play from Tuesday night points that out all too well. The Reds end up throwing the ball from one end of Pete Rose's way to the other and allow 2 runs to score. It's a real red alert considering the Reds own a 5-game losing streak. They've lost 10 of their last 12 and have managed only 6 runs in their last 4 games.
I certainly can't hit for them. The coaches can't hit for them, or you guys can't hit for them. They have to do it. And if they can't do it, then I guess the only other alternative is change the personnel. Try somebody else. Well, we tried everybody in this club.
It won't be Petey Rose. The Reds and Pete Rose Jr. have parted ways. Petey hit a high point last September when he was called up by the Reds, but yesterday the Reds demoted Petey to their AA club. Rose asked to be released instead. The Reds granted Petey his wish, so now he's free to play elsewhere.